We have a very important race here in this election in Monroe County, and I'd like to share some of my thoughts, questions, and concerns about the race. But before I begin, I would like to point out that research has shown one major factor in how a person wins an election is name recognition. So right now, I would like you to look at the name of Alex Merrick. And when you see that name on your ballot November 7th, you select him as the candidate for district attorney. Alex Merrick. Now, before I talk about Alex and why I do endorse him, I'd like to talk about the situation in this county that has caused a great deal of confusion, consternation, and upheaval in both parties, both Democrat and Republican. The person who was running as the Democrat candidate for district attorney in our county was a long-standing Republican, and after the 2022 election, changed his party to Democrat and then launched his campaign to be elected district attorney. So a number of Democrats were upset by this, and it was a contested primary, but he did win that primary and that party's nomination. The Republicans were equally upset because this man who had presented himself in the Republican Party for many, many years now turned his back on us. Additionally, his wife, who was an elected Republican in the county, changed her party affiliation, despite the fact that she had received monetary support as well as campaign support from the local Republican Party. So, as you can see, the situation had people in both parties unsure of what this meant. So, what this individual did in his efforts to secure the primary vote for the Democrat Party in a public forum, explained his reasons. There were several reasons, but made the point that he could no longer stay in the Republican Party. He had to go with the Democrats in order to support his daughter's rights to reproductive freedom and her reproductive rights, of course, which is code for abortion rights. That certainly would win some of the Democrats. However, we all know money talks. And at some point in this past campaign, he donated, I believe it was $5,000 to the Monroe County Young Democrats, the leftist-leaning wing of the Democrat Party. And his wife joined the effort, donating $2,000 from the campaign funds to the Young Democrats. This was a proof of good faith on their part. Money talks. And then, through social media, he received endorsements from various prominent Democrats. And one of the things that struck me that was repeated through people endorsing him was that he really held the values of the Democrat Party. They wanted to reassure people through the primary that this individual was true and true, holding Democrat values. That's where my questions began to emerge. Because if we take a look at the result of Democrat district attorneys throughout our state, there's a troubling pattern. Philadelphia has the notorious District Attorney Krasner. He's viewed as a leader in criminal justice. However, in Philadelphia, under his watch, for at least 2 years, maybe more, homicide records have been smashed, and there's been a call for him to be impeached. Now, what are the justice reform values held by Democrat district attorneys? I have a few notes here because I just wanted to make sure I wasn't just operating off the top of my head, but that there are facts behind this. So, these Democrat district attorneys push bail reform, sometimes cashless bail reform, which means someone is arrested and revolved right out the door onto the street, which results in the same individual being responsible for multiple crimes. It's happened in the major cities in Pennsylvania. And I won't even go into New York. I'm just going to talk about what we see in Pennsylvania. They look for something called diversion programs. This is a program in which a criminal, instead of going to jail, is given a different circumstance. They may be required to attend classes or whatever. In other words, to keep them out of jail. Well, what criminal wants to, isn't happy about staying out of jail? So these are popular among them, but not so much among the community that sees these repeat offenders coming back out and victimizing individuals. And they want to reduce the jail population. That's their goal. Well, one of the ways to reduce the population is to not prosecute crimes. And what we've seen, for instance, in Philadelphia and other major cities, is the decriminalization of crimes, such as shoplifting. So if you've watched the news, you've seen the rampaging like a week or so ago, 2 nights of them just rampaging Apple stores and various stores, emptying them out in Philadelphia. And then they decriminalize larceny. So if someone steals something, it's only valued $250, there's no charge. This is a really serious point. In some of these urban areas, they have decriminalized drug possession with the intent to sell. So we are seeing such an increase in crime in areas like Philadelphia, which, by the way, is not very far from Monroe County. You can get there in an hour and a half. Then an interesting twist on this is in these cases in Philadelphia, they do not call the police, the arresting officers, as witnesses in the trial. They want to avoid hearing from the police. Well, it certainly has had disastrous effects. I'm referring to a few notes here. Interestingly enough, in Pittsburgh, the car theft incidence is way above the national average. In fact, property crimes and violent crimes in the city of Pittsburgh are far above the national average. And let's take a look, 40 minutes away at Allentown. The crime statistics in Allentown in 2020 are also higher than the national average. So we're seeing areas all around us in which Democrat district attorneys holding those Democrat values are creating a situation in which crime runs rampant and victims are not protected. So if these are the Democrat values that our current Democrat candidate for district attorney has now adopted, we're in trouble. Because just take a look at where we're situated. We are Interstate 80, Interstate 33, are avenues into our county in which criminals can quickly move in and quickly move out. Well, if we get a DA who is a Democrat that proposes all these criminal justice reforms, they're going to move in and they're not going to move out. So we have pockets of crime in Monroe County where crime occurs, and we have areas where we don't see as much. But if you're coming into Stroudsburg at nighttime, you're going to be very cautious or you're not going to come in at all because there's this incidence of crime. If you're a retailer at the crossings, you have to deal with rampant shoplifting. Some of it makes the news and some of it doesn't. All right, now let's go back and talk about a candidate whom I think will best serve our county, and that's Alex Merrick. All right, his experience is phenomenal and gives him a perspective and a scope of awareness that will bring much to the district attorney's office in Monroe County, much new perspective. I'm going to read from the list because I had a hard time keeping track of everything that Alex has done. All right. First of all, currently he's an assistant DA in Northampton County. So his experience is as a criminal prosecutor. He has also worked at the federal level and has been a federal criminal investigator. And he's worked as a police officer, boots on the ground. He's experienced direct intervention with crime. He's worked as a federal air marshal. So this is a person whose experience spans federal, local, state. He has been a lawyer in private practice or civil practice, and he has been a United States Army intelligence analyst. No question, the man has the background, experience, and brilliance to really bring something new into Monroe County. If you get the chance, take a look at his webpage. It's all small letters, alexmarek4da.com. ALEXMAREKFORDA.com. And you'll learn more about his focus and his reasons for running for district attorney. Primarily, his two major points are he will enforce the law and seek justice for victims of crime. One of the interesting things that I heard him present about is his plan as DA in our county to establish a permanent, full-time drug task force, which we really don't have. We have a quasi-drug task force, but it's not permanent and it's not full-time. So those of us here in Monroe County realize the core of many of the problems of crime in our county stem from the drug trade and illegal drug use. So he also acknowledges that another factor in crime is occurrences with individuals that suffer from mental illness. And he's expressed the desire or the need to work for solutions to help those with mental illness, solutions that provide compassion to meet their needs, while at the same time a focus on safety and protection for the private citizens or the citizens of Monroe County. Another point I'd like to make about Alex Marek is he's approaching this with integrity. He hasn't wavered on his beliefs. He hasn't wavered on how crime should be addressed. And his entire background is proof that he would make an excellent district attorney for Monroe County. So November 7th, I ask you, when you come to vote, mark Alex Marek on your ballot. And if you're using the vote by mail, please select Alex. We really have the opportunity to bring something new, something solid, and someone with integrity into our district attorney's office. Thank you. I appreciate if you would forward this and share these thoughts and join in the effort to elect Alex. Thank you.